They've accused us of putting cow urine in our cake, and they just follow all this fake news.
We are going to be exploring life, wisdom, business advice, and how do you take a business from a startup.
Dad always said, right, it costs nothing to swallow. By removing one ingredient, the egg, it becomes suitable for the Hindu community, the Sikh community, and the community who's allergic to egg.
Founder and CEO of Cakebox Holdings, Mr. Sukh Chamdal.
I've done the franchise training. We got our first franchisee.
Challenges and frustrating moments throughout the process.
You're responsible for people's money. They've invested in you, so you need to give them a return. We just opened our first branch in Paris.
Don't mix family or pleasure with business. How do you navigate this?
When that person has earned the right to be there, doesn't matter if they're family. People have trusted you, and so you need to return their trust.
Assalamu alaikum viewers and listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Side by Side. I'm your host Kazi, Shafiqur, Rahman. Our guest today needs no introduction. The founder and CEO of Cakebox Holdings, Mr. Sukh Chamdal. Stay right till the end of this episode because you are in for a treat. Yes, he is the founder of Cakebox. That's a treat. But we are going to be exploring life. We're going to be exploring wisdom. We're going to be exploring business advice. And most importantly, how do you take a business from a startup all the way to a PLC listed company on London Stock Exchange? So stay right till the end. This episode has been sponsored by TapTapSend, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the platform you are tuned into. Let's get straight into the show. Welcome to Side by Side.
Thank you for inviting me, Kazi.
And I know of you from two things. One is your controversy, and I will come to that. Controversy is not always bad controversy, and the second part is the Ambala acquisition. But before we begin, experienced man, you've been through, life. Take us back in time for those guys who don't know who you are. Give us just a quick overview of where you come from and how did you get to where you are today.
My dad in 1962 arrived in this country in 1963, £1 in his pocket with a voucher from the British government because there was a labour shortage. He was a bricklayer. So he came over, went to the nearest construction site, me bricklayer, job. They go, yes, start tomorrow. And within 5 years, he had earned enough money, saved up to bring his family over. So we came over in 1967 and he had bought a house already. And then he realized that there's a demand for food from back home. Kevra, barfi, laddu. And so he started doing his side hustle. Like we all Asians do, we do side hustles. So he was going to work in the daytime. Mum was going to work in a mattress factory. And they were both making sweets in the evening to sell to all their work colleagues. And so within a few years, he opened up a shop in Green Street. And that's where our career started as well. Because as you know, all our Asians, we all muck in together. The whole family works together. So while my white friends, on a Saturday morning were playing football, I was making samosas for the orders that were coming in. And that's how our work ethics got instilled to us. And Dad's philosophy was that or work, earn, work and earn.
That's it.
No in-betweens. So you either work or you study. Right? Study or you work. And like Dad used to say, by studying, your education can never be taken away from you. Whether you use it or you don't use that, you whether go down that trade, it can never be taken. So my biggest advice to everybody is get your education. No matter how many ideas you got for businesses, that's always a fallback.
Fantastic. So, wow. So you started working from a very young age. How
11.
old were you when you came?
I was 5 when I arrived, right? And we've been working since we were 8.
Wow.
Helping out. But that's how all immigrants all worked. Before us, there were others. And that's how the Asians have integrated into this society. They've worked hard and they've progressed further.
How many brothers and sisters are you?
So I've got one older sister and one younger brother.
So you're the middle?
Correct. I'm the middle child.
Do you have the syndrome middle
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're not here, no there.
That's right.
Well, I'm the middle child as well.
So we got a kinship.
Oh my God. I love it when I interact with my guests, and sometimes some people say, "Oh, why do you laugh too much?" Because I find it very enjoy. I mean, I enjoy the conversation.
Of course, and Dad always said, right, it costs nothing to smile, right? And what's wrong with being happy?
And in our religion, it's a charity to smile. So we go a bit further.
Absolutely.
So it costs nothing to smile, and yeah, I mean, if you're gaining something from it, why not? So look, you've got children.
Correct. I've got three girls and one boy, and two of the girls are in the business. So they've got 5 franchisees and 3 franchisees respectively.
So they run their own franchise operations under Cakebox.
Yeah, that's right. So they've got the Cakebox shops, and the younger ones are still studying.
Oh, I know I sound a bit nosy, but just to kind of draw a picture for our audience who Sukh is, and so for them to relate a bit more. Why did you cut the trees? You were building the houses. Because when I was looking online,
again, I'm not a builder, right? I make cakes, I make sweets. So you give the contract out, and the contract's been given out, and they went wrong, right? And they got convicted, they got fined, etc. And but that's the way of the world. They didn't know the rules. They broke them. They got punished for them.
But you paid the price.
But at the end of the day, the law here says that whether because you're the landowner, right, you're responsible. And I knew nothing about it. But that's the way of life, and you accept it and you move on.
Did you eventually build the house?
No, so we're still waiting for permission to come in, and the way I wanted the house. So it'll come eventually. I'm in a hurry.
Oh, okay. So it's on standstill. You haven't.
No, so the planning permission's going through. There's some changes and etc. Yeah, it's a lovely plot of land, and middle of Loughton, and hopefully we'll get there. And again, with the cost of living going up, the price of the materials have gone up. Then you have to readjust it again, so you don't want to pay double the price.
There's gonna be a nice mansion, like back home.
Just a house, yes.
Yeah, nice. How did Cakebox come about?
When my oldest daughter, my family's vegetarian, and when she realized that there's eggs in the cake, she said, "Look, I don't want eggs in my cake." But what did you give a child when they don't want? So, in the dying days of the Labour government, there were lots of grants going around. And we went to a seminar, and Southbank University, they said that we can make you an egg-free recipe. So we got a grant of 20,000, which I used at Southbank University. And 6 weeks later, they gave me a recipe. And it just happened to be that my next door shop, which was owned by us, became vacant. I said, what should we do in there? And the rest is history.
Wow. So recipe, because of your obviously own values, you needed an egg free. Because I didn't understand, what's the big hype about egg free? Because it's on your tagline as well. Like, it's everywhere, egg free cakes. And I'm like, but why does it matter? Like, if it has eggs or not? But now I get it.
Well, the reason is, how much of the market do you want? So you got a business. How much of the market do you want? You want 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. By removing one ingredient, the egg, it becomes suitable for the Hindu community, the Sikh community, and the community who's allergic to egg. It becomes halal by default because it's got no meat products or alcohol. And so what is, I've covered 99% of the market except the vegans. But now I've introduced a vegan range, so now I've got 100% of the market.
Well, now it makes perfect sense. You opened your first shop, presumably in Green Street.
That's correct.
What year was that? In 2008. 2008. Wow. And how was sales from day one?
So we were born in the midst of a recession, and it got so popular. People were asking me, "Can you please open another branch?" I was very reluctant to open another branch because there's a high cash value at that time. Lots of cash going through the tills. How did you control that? And then I was saying, why didn't you sell me a franchise? What's the franchise?
Well, you didn't know what a franchise was.
I didn't know what a franchise was. And I got a letter through the post saying, the franchise show is on next week. You want to franchise your business? I went along, and learned all about it. I thought, this can work. And so I'd done the course. I'd done the franchise training. We got our first franchisee. Just happened to be my brother-in-law. He had just been made redundant. He's looking for a new venture. And he started it. It worked. And then we knew it could work. And then the second franchisee, or a young lad named Azim Noor, comes into the shop and says, can you teach me how to make cakes? How old are you, son? 19. I'm fed up of working. I want my own business. Okay, I hope you want a franchise. And he's got 4 shops now. And he's been with us ever since.
Wow.
And so what Dad always said, look, listen, learn. I didn't know what a franchise was. I went and learned it, right? I listened to my customers, what they wanted. They wanted more branches. And I looked around, saw what's available, what opportunities there, and took it.
Bro, my dad's been on my case for the last week. I need to send him money in Bangladesh.
So what's stopping you, bro?
Bro, it's long. The queues are endless. And have you seen where they're located? Red routes, nowhere to park. Nah, man.
Why don't you use what I use?
What do you use?
Basically, it's this app that I use. It's called Tap Tap Send. And bro, it's a game changer. I don't have to go to these money transfer shops. I don't have to wait in the queues, and I don't have to get a parking fine. It's all on my phone. And I can use my card to send money back home instantly.
So what's the catch?
There is no catch. In fact, it's quite the opposite. No hidden fees, no transfer fees, and on top, if you use the KSR code, you get £20 credit.
Say no more. £20, yeah? I'm gonna download the app right now. My dad's gonna love me for this.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Problem solved. Now let's get inside. We've got a killer episode to record.
So your franchise obviously was, your first shop was profitable, and that's probably why you were, I guess, prepared to allow your brother-in-law to also kind of take a shop. Otherwise, you wouldn't let him buy into a failing or loss-making shop.
Great. So it was an opportunity, and there's always a risk. There's never 100% certainty. And he took it on. He done well, and he's still with us from day one.
Wow. So let's say, you've got a business. Let's use Buddy's, my restaurant, as an example. First shop, we've been through our ups and downs, self-inflicted problems, a lot of it. We've taken our eyes off the ball, and then we realized the business gone into loss. Now we've stabilized it. It's back to, I suppose, break even, and hopefully it's going to climb back up because we're fully focused on it. Would you allow yourself, if you were the owner, to franchise it to other people? Or would you say, you know what, I'm not prepared yet, and I'm going to make sure it's a solid model, and I want to see the actual profit coming in? Although the financial modeling says it is profitable, and for various reasons, it hasn't made profit. What would you do in this?
The franchisee has to make money. So they have to have enough margin to operate all the operating costs and make a profit at the end of the day. So until your business can prove that there's a certain amount of margin, you cannot franchise.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You should be opening your own branches, 1 or 2, 3 branches, open them, and if they turn out to be profitable, then you can sell that to a franchisee. But at the end of the day, what you're doing business for, it's not a charity. You're there to make money. And why would someone want to invest their hard-earned cash if they're not going to make any money? They might as well go to work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're going to prove the concept, prove that it's profitable, and if it is, that's when you invite other people to come in.
So don't bring people into something that hasn't been proven.
Absolutely correct.
And it's unethical as well to do such a thing.
Absolutely. That's correct.
And unfortunately, we have seen some businesses in franchise community, where they run before they could walk.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many what you call pyramid schemes where they introduce more people, they pay their fees, and the top ones make profit. But you're going to get that in this world. No one's perfect.
So let's say I've proven Buddies. Now I've got my own 4 locations. I'm testing it. It's profitable. It's making money. How do I get to become a PLC?
Why would you want to become a PLC?
I don't know. Maybe I want to sell shares in my like I want to be another cake box, but
Yes.
just in fast food.
There's 2 reasons that you become a PLC. One is that you need the money to expand the business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the easiest way to do it, is you introduce shareholders who are silent. You run the business, you give them a return. The second reason that you do a IPO is an exit strategy. That you're going to come in, you're going to IPO it, you're going to take the money, you're going to stay there for a little while, and then you're going to walk away, and you let the other company, and you get or other people to run it for, yeah. And so when you reach a certain level and there's enough money to be shared among yourself and your shareholders, that's when you go down that route.
I know you have to appoint some advisors, nomads and stuff. From my brief research, how much does it cost?
A minimum of at least £600,000 to IPO a business. And it can go up to 2 million, 3 million.
So is that on AIM or on the full?
Or on AIM.
AIM.
On AIM, just on AIM. And the main one is even more expensive.
So is Cakebox on?
And there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of processes. That's why it costs so much. Every single thing that you say has to be proved. So if I say my cakes are delicious, prove it.
Oh.
My cakes are made from cream. Prove it. So they're very thorough. You can't just get onto the stock exchange if you're dodgy.
And when how many stores did you have at that point when you started thinking about AIM?
I think we were around the 40 mark.
Okay.
Yeah, and a certain level of profit, certain level of turnover, etc. And when you go through that process, they tell you if you can IPO it, if you cannot. And they looked at our business model. They said yes, it's possible, and that's where we went down that route. And the question you asked me, why did I go IPO?
Yeah.
The reason was because of our success. How do you share that? And the way we shared it with our staff, our franchisees, our customers and suppliers, by becoming IPO'd, they could all buy shares. They all became owners of the company. So even my workers who bought shares in 2018 still own them because they're still owners of the company. They get a dividend and they're proud to see when the price goes up, price goes down, but they're with it. They can calculate what they got, how much they're, and they're proud owners of the company. They feel much more of a connection than rather than being an employee or just a franchisee.
Oh, that's very impressive. So there's some companies that will just give shares to their, say, executives, their top executives, and that's how they would incentivize them. But with this model, if you are accepted, then you're saying like, anyone can just go and buy.
Absolutely correct. And so my franchisee, once we IPO'd, the sales went up because they're making money out of that. They're making more money out of that. And again, it's how you run your business, how you incentivize your team. And that's how you get your business. Get yourself a good team, right? Because my dad said, you cannot be an expert in everything. So get the expert. So that's how you build your team. And once you've got your team, you can go forward.
It's so important to know what you don't know.
Absolutely correct.
Because everyone wants to know everything. And
we cannot know.
Yeah.
So you get your team. So I had a very good team, or my CFO is also my cousin. And then there was one of my colleagues, Dr. Singh, and he's very experienced in business all over the world. And we came together and we put the model through, and the results are where we are now.
Some people say don't mix family or pleasure with business. How do you navigate this?
Oh, absolutely. And again, it's got to be, have that person earned the right to be in the business, or is it purely by legacy? That's where the problem comes, when it's purely by legacy. When that person has earned the right to be there, doesn't matter if they're family.
True. Now that I think back, because it's always, the problem happens when they are there just for the sake of being there, not because they have earned
expect
themselves.
to be there. They haven't proven themselves. So my cousin, he's a fully qualified chartered accountant, right? He's there because he earned it. He didn't get there just because he's related to family. And I've got no one in the company who's there purely because they're related to me.
Let's say you've got a son, and now he hasn't really proven himself to take the reign from yourself. What would you do? Like, would you say, no, you're not taking it?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Unless they're qualified, they won't get it, because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for over 2,500 livelihoods. For all the staff in the shop, in head office, manufacturing, etc. Right? And you want to ensure their futures. You want to ensure that they continue having a job and continue. There's a business there. So you got to make those decisions and say, look, I'm going to get the best person who's qualified.
Not because he's my son.
Correct. Absolutely correct. There's a company, Asian company, and they're always brought up from their family. And then eventually one of the sons said, look, we need to get in professional help. They brought in a production manager, and they were having 3 shifts of this product. The guy in 3 months cut it down to 1 shift and triple the profits, where the family couldn't, because he was qualified in doing so. And that's what it is. So you got to make those decisions. It can't be just about family. It's got to be who's the best person for that job.
And emotion creep in as well as you run a family business, and so many nuances they just develop over years.
Correct.
And when someone comes with fresh pair of perspectives, they're like, why is that here? Like, that doesn't need to be here.
Absolutely.
Well, how long did it take for you to go on AIM? Because I'm very interested, because this is, I feel like, this is.
So we started in 2008 and we listed in 2018.
10 years. 10 years. And any pushbacks, any challenges, any frustrating moments throughout the process?
Absolutely, because you've got you're reporting to people, you're responsible for people's money. They've invested in you, so you need to give them a return. But people ask me, do you any regrets? I took the money, so there's no regrets. And you go with the flow, right? And you just got to make sure that you give the best that you can give. And people have trusted you, and so you need to return their trust. And the company's going very well with AIM. Or we've got very good shareholders. We've got shareholders who've been with us for a long time. We've got very well household names as shareholders, and so we've got a responsibility to them. We've got a responsibility to our staff. Some companies won't go on the IPO. Some people stay private, and it depends on individual preferences.
It's quite a lot in terms of control, and once you're used to doing certain things in a certain way, your own way. Now you just can't do it your own way.
Yeah, but that's what the governance is there for. There's rules and regulations and etc. It's all to safeguard yourself.
And is that a good thing, by the way? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Absolutely.
When sometimes you can't do things your way, you have to.
Right. Correct. It's absolutely correct, and it's safeguarding all the shareholders and the people who've invested in you. So you may invest on the stock market, and when you invest on the stock market, you want to be assured that the company you're investing in is stable, is going to make money, etc. You're always going to get failures, it may be for certain reasons, but the rules and regulations are there to safeguard everybody.
So how do you reason or debate with yourself? Look, that's how I run my life. That's how I run the business. Now, all of a sudden, I have to run it in a very different way.
So we run the business by committee. So it's not one person making the whole decision. So it goes out to 2 or 3 people in the high executives. And I may wake up on one morning and think, oh, I've got a brilliant idea. I'll rush in the office. We're going to do it this way. And my other 2 colleagues can say, no, step back. It ain't going to work. You're wasting your money. So that idea is put to bed. Right? Or someone else may say, oh, this is a good idea. And then we'll assess it and say, no, it may work, it may not work. And so that's how, one of my staff said, look, I want to bring out Dubai chocolate burfi for Ambala. Yeah, show me. Right? Showed it, and the concept worked. We looked at it as a committee, and we put the green light in it, done. But there's other ideas that have come in, and we didn't think that's going to work. So we put it to bed.
How important is speed of execution?
Again, it's all got to be, you either do things properly or you rush them and then you fail at them. So it's better just to step back a bit. It depends on how sensitive the market is. Right? If this is very time sensitive, you may get away with it, but always caution is better than haste.
But sometimes people take too long to execute, and then time has gone by.
It can. That's right. That's another pitfall. But again, that's what you're there to make your judgment.
In terms of your pace, we all have a pace in our life. Some are very on it. They just want to get on with things. How do you
I wanted everything done yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And you do get frustrated. Oh, I want it done. It's not been done yet. but there's processes that you have to follow, especially once you're bigger. We have to provide every single ingredient, allergen. We check the whole of our supply chain. So just because I've got this ingredient, right? Now, the ingredients that our supplier uses, we check those as well. Are they all pure vegetarian? We go down further down the line and see their suppliers. Is it pure vegetarian? Because we don't want to hurt any sentiment. We want to make sure there's no alcohol in there. We want to make sure there's no meat product in there. So it doesn't or go against our ethics, which is we've proven it's pure vegetarian. So there's a lot more processes where if that was a small mum and dad shop, I could just make it and get away with it. We, as a listed company, will look at any company, especially abroad, where if they've got CDEX. CDEX is a certification that they don't use child labor, they don't use slave labor, they give a fair wage, they give good working hours. You as a single person can buy from anyone. No one's gonna look. But we have got standards that we have to conform to. So, for example, we've got Ambala. They use a lot of plastic for their rasmalai, rasgulle, gulab jamun packaging, right? And to me, that hurts. And our aim is to reduce as much plastic as possible. So in the cake box, we've reduced plastic by 90%. So where stuff was coming in plastic buckets, we've gone to bag in the box. So a cardboard box with a few plastic bags instead of a whole bucket, which won't be recycled. And so we're going to go into foil containers for our rasmalai, rasgulle, and everything. So that get rid of that thousands of packets of plastic, which is going to go into the dustbin, not recycled.
Yeah, it hurts, right? Like, when you see so much plastic,
it's going to cost me more money, but it satisfies our ethoses where we're trying to reduce the plastic and help the environment at the same time.
How do you build a team?
Don't be afraid to get rid of a person. You will know in the first 2 weeks if that person is capable or not capable. The biggest mistake we make is, let's give them another chance. They'll improve. Let's train them more. They'll apply for a job and you'll never get it right every time. The interview is different than actual working practices. If you find that they're not capable, don't be afraid to say, see you later. Then go back to the drawing board.
It's costly to hire as well, right? Like, to go through the interview phase and
But again, that's what you have to do. You do have to go through that, and you will never know what the person's like until they start working for you. They may be a gem, they may not be a gem. But some have got the potential, and you may want to take them on and train them as more and realize their potential. But that's the judgment that you've got to make.
And there's literally it's a science, like to hire someone.
Great, absolutely, because you don't know exactly how a person is going to be and what their skill set is.
Sometimes do you beat yourself up like, I made a wrong decision on that person?
It happens, yes, absolutely.
And you kind of look down on yourself, I should have made a better decision.
It happens. You're never going to get every decision right. There's always going to be decisions that are wrong. And it's how you then deal with that wrong decision. Yeah, you get rid of the person and you're going to hire someone else. And you change the job description, or you change your interviewing techniques, or whichever way you want to do to screen that person.
What's your favorite interview question that gives you the essences that you're looking for, but they don't know?
The first question I always ask is, get your CV. Who are you? What are you? What do you do in your spare time? I want to know the real you, not what you've written on your CV. And then you get a sense of what that person is, how they do it. It's all a skill, but I've got a HR department. They do all that, right? And I just go and sit in the interview if I need to.
I suppose if it's someone really, really important, then you might want to have a view on them.
That's correct.
And what are you looking for? Like, when they say, what clues are you looking for, like, to see if they're part of your team or not?
You've got body language, you've got their enthusiasm, how they're in the interview. And for the first thing I look for, have they turned up in a suit and tie if they're a gentleman?
Just like me.
Yeah? That's correct. Or are they smartly dressed if they're a young lady? Because first impressions always count. And I will only get an impression of you by you sitting there across that table. If you're going to come in shorts and a t-shirt for a job, the first impression I want to get, this guy doesn't care. If you come late, what impression I want to get, right? If you're going for a job, you make sure you get there half an hour earlier. If you think there's going to be traffic, get there an hour earlier and just sit outside, but never be late, because that is the first impression. If you're smartly dressed, after you got a job, you may be working in t-shirts, but you should always turn up smartly dressed. And I applaud you for whenever you do your podcast, you're professionally dressed. And we've lost that sense of professionalism. But if you go to any job, anywhere in the city, if you don't turn up properly dressed, you will hurt your impression, the first impression. And first impression is what counts so much.
Some people do set a very good set impression, and then they switch up, like, straight away, like, to something maybe that you are probably like, you're not comfortable in saying to them, like, look, I don't like you like dressing in certain ways. I like the way you came on your first day.
It's all rules and regulations that you've got. What are your regulations in your company? If you expect everybody to be in uniform, so be it. They've applied for a job. They know what to say. That's what they should do. If you allow everybody to come in t-shirts and casual, that's fine. As long as the work gets done, as long as the job gets done, doesn't matter. But if you've got clients coming in and you got to show a professional image, so you expect them to dress smartly.
Absolutely. And I think obviously, especially in sales environment, people buy people. Like people would go for the more presentable one. If there's two persons standing and one is a scruffy looking one and another one is very polished, well-groomed person, most likely I would probably lean towards the person who's looking, more sharp.
So if you're going to buy something, you're in the selling game. If you're looking professional, the customers more tend to trust you.
Yeah.
Because you look professional, you've made the effort, etc. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting sales. We don't care what color, creed, religion you are. As long as you're spending your money with us, we're happy.
Well, work from home. Your views.
Again, it's a balance. Everything is a balance, right? That if you got a job which is capable of being done from home and they give the output, it's not a problem. Personally, I like them to have him be in the office, because if I want to ask a question, I don't want to use a phone or Teams or the computer to contact them or email them first. So we do hybrid working, but it's all going to be on what the job demands. The baker can't work from home.
No.
Right? But the accounts department can. Yeah? And so it's all a balance on how comfortable you as an employer are with your working model.
Are there things that you would like to do, but you can't do it because you're a PLC IPO'd company?
There's always going to be restrictions. Like I said, or I go all over the world to buy machinery and packaging and etc. And we can't. So I've just come back from a trip for procuring machinery for Ambala, for my Thai machinery. I went to India, I went to China, and it's frustrating because some of the machines that have been made, I can't buy them because they're not conform to European standards. The companies are two-man bands, but they're not TDEX, so we don't know, or have they got all the checks in place? Have they got all the standards, not paying slave labor, kid labor, child labor? It's very good machines, but I can't buy them because it goes against our principles. And there's always going to be stuff that you want to do, but you can't do. But again, it's a good thing. It's a good standard. It's good to keep maintain a standard throughout your business.
Some people use controversy to drive up noise in the market. What are your views on controversy?
Again, it's whatever they're comfortable with. We've got a solid business. We've got a business which is about celebration. Who do you know who doesn't have a birthday?
We all have.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We're very lucky because we've got a business which is about celebration. It's about treats. It's about having an average family got four members is once a quarter. So we were born in the midst of a recession. When there's a recession, what do? You cut on your dry cleaning. You cut out going to the restaurants. You cut out on takeaways, but you always celebrate that one special occasion, which is a birthday or an anniversary, etc. And so that we're well placed. We're recession proof. We will always have a customer. Because the other guaranteed business where you always have a customer is funerals.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to die.
Exactly. Funerals and I suppose celebrations. Very
Correct.
important. Are you comfortable with controversy? Because personally, for me, as long as it doesn't hurt my business, as long as it doesn't hurt my family, like personally, I'm okay with someone attacking me publicly or on the public domain.
See, there's so much we live in a world of instant news, instant social media. And I do find it a bit sad that people don't do their research and they just follow all this false fake news and just follow the trend rather than seeing what's behind it. As you know, we've had controversy in our business. They've accused us of putting cow urine in our cakes. Absolutely ridiculous in a country where it's so regulated. You've got health inspectors and all the staff who work there, half of them are different religions. We've got 39 languages spoken in our business. We've got 9 religions. We've got such a diversity workforce, and these stupid claims that are made, I just can't understand why people don't step back and think this is a bit stupid. But we live in a world of instant gratification. And then it's how do you handle it?
Who comes out with all this? Do you ever trace it back? Do you sometimes think, I wish I knew, who's this culprit?
Yeah, that's right. So what you do, you got competition, and then you got people living or people at home who are sad and got nothing else to do in life, and put out these kind of things just to get views, just to get or likes, and maybe get people more coming to YouTube. They might earn a few more pennies.
Hey guys, I hope you have been enjoying today's episode of Side by Side with myself as your host, Kazi Shafiqur Rahman, and our guest, the founder and CEO of Cakebox Holdings, Mr. Sukh Chamdal. If you have been enjoying this episode so far, please do share this episode around with friends and family, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the platform you are tuned into. And with that said, let's get straight back into the show. Yeah, and I've seen that the more and more of these things are happening where someone will become a self-proclaimed reviewer of certain things, and now they're a voice of authority, and ultimately they just want to benefit themselves at the expense of a business because they don't know what they're doing to that business.
Absolutely correct. And then it's how do you counter it, right? And I'm glad to say that our customers are very loyal. They're very sensible, and they know everything they have is in black and white. All our ingredients are listed on our website. Every single thing that we produce is pure vegetarian. That we take great pains. We've actually got a food safety team, which is all they do is trace all these ingredients to make sure that everything that we sell is pure vegetarian, so it's suitable for our customers.
Currently, how many stores do you have?
So we've got 254 at the moment.
Amazing.
And we aiming to have another 25 by the end of the year. So we open back roughly about 2 a month.
And which areas are you focusing now to open?
Again, where is there not a birthday? Yeah. And so then you tailor it to that particular market.
So are you currently in UK only or?
We just opened our first branch in Paris. That's going really well. And then we'll be looking to expand more in Europe as well. And eventually we want to expand all over the world.
Ambala, how did that come about? And how did the process go? Like for someone who's in business, they want to learn about all these acquisition stuff, but they don't have the first-hand experience. Maybe you can walk us through.
So, as you know, I'm a Halawai. So I've been making mithai all my life. And so when I decided to close the mithai shop, the one shop in Green Street, my father said, don't let my legacy die. And so what I done, the one burfi that is our specialty, I brought that to the Cakebox. And we sell that. It's buffalo milk burfi. We've got our own buffaloes on a farm, which we milk to make in this country in Leamington Spa, to make this burfi. And so I've always...
Your own cows?
Yes, buffalo.
Buffalo. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's the family business. It's in my DNA. And so when in my network, I found out that there was a major sweet manufacturer being put in the market, I put two and two together, and I guess it was Ambala. And so through the network, we went through the process. We put in our bid, and there were other bidders as well. But the Ambala management, they looked up and they said that we're the right fit to take over because of the legacy, or because I've been a Matai all my life, and we would take that 60-year-old brand to new heights. So they chose us rather than us choosing them. And so it's a nice partnership together. Cakes and Matai. You're always going to have a cake, but you're always going to have Matai to give to your guests when they go.
Yeah.
You always get married with a cake, but you're going to give a Matai box with your invitation cards, and you're going to give them all when they come to the function.
Nice. So they chose you eventually out of many bidders.
Correct.
How do you decide on a price?
Again, it's all about my team. They review their or financials, or their historical financials, their forecast for the future and how it's going to work. And so, they had a price, we had a price, and we sat around the table and we came to a deal. And we settled on the price that we paid now.
And where does the money come from? The money that you pay to them?
So we took some debt on. So we borrowed from the bank, and we raised some money from the shareholders. So we went to our shareholders and said, look, we want to raise a certain amount of money. Who's interested? And we were 4 times oversubscribed.
Was that through AIM or private?
Through AIM.
Okay.
So we went to our shareholders in AIM and said, we're doing a placing of this amount. Or we had more shareholders wanting shares than we had shares to offer.
So how does it work? If someone owns Cakebox shares, they also own Ambala, or is it different?
So it's their own in the Cakebox Holdings.
Okay.
Cakebox Holdings now own Ambala, or they're part of Ambala. Ambala is now part of Cakebox, and so you own the share in both companies.
How comes I don't see Cakebox in shopping centers?
Because again, it's a decision that we make, because shopping centers rents very high. And so would you, as a franchisee, want a shop on a high street and make X amount of money? Or would you like to be in a shopping center with all the extra high costs and all the extra stress and still make the same amount of money? So why would you want to have, employ 20 staff, and have such rush, so much pressure on you, but you make the same amount of money with a shop on the high street?
Okay, so did you have anyone interested who wants to say, you know what, I'm into shopping center game, and I want to take a Cakebox?
Again, if someone approaches us, we look at every application seriously, and at the moment that is not our strategy.
Okay,
to go into a shopping center with such high rents.
What if it's like a kiosk concession, like a mini version of
Again,
Cakebox?
they're really expensive.
Yeah.
So they are. We've got 18 kiosks in supermarkets and in shopping centers as well. So we've got in Bradford Shopping Centre.
Okay.
We've got in other shopping centers.
Okay, so I haven't
we
seen
are,
it.
we are there.
Okay.
It's mainly up north as
Okay.
well. Or we're in Watford Shopping Centre, or we're in Hatfield Shopping Centre, but again,
You're in Trafford. Now that I remember,
we're in Trafford as well.
Yes,
right,
yes. No,
correct.
I'm sorry.
But that's
Apologies.
That's run by a local franchisee.
Okay, what's next? What's the strategy of Ambala?
So Ambala, we want to double the amount of stores that we've got at the moment. There's 20, and they're not spread all over the country. So we want to open in places where we haven't got one. For example, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Nottingham, Derby, Bristol, or Wales, or Cardiff, right? And so we're looking in all those places to start. Glasgow should probably be our next one, and the people of Glasgow, be ready.
Glasgow is a very interesting market.
And then we'll have Edinburgh after that, and then we've got in all the major cities.
And some of it will be available in Cakebox as well. Is it a limited range or?
That's right. So we're experimenting with what's the best format, and we're finding a pre-packed, ready to go Matai box is what the preferred option is. So we're doing the packaging. We're making new packaging. As you may have noticed on my shirt,
yes, I can see
the new logo.
Yes.
So we're refreshing the logo and we're refreshing all the shops. So the Ilford shop will be fully refreshed by next week, and then we'll refresh all the rest of the shops as well.
Amazing. I mean, Ambala, it's a legendary brand, right? You know,
Absolutely, it's the number one in the Matai business, and we want to make sure it stays there.
When I went for the first time like in Asian culture, you go and see the bride, and do the talking, and obviously I took the full Ambala box, and that had some weight to it, to the whole proposal. Like, you know, they came with Ambala, like, you know, it meant something. I didn't know, like, it meant something, but later I found out it played a part.
Absolutely correct. You know, like I said, first impressions count. Now, if you went in a t-shirt with me and shorts, I'm sure she would have said no.
No.
Yeah, you came smartly dressed. You bought the appropriate stuff. Now, if you're taking a cake box or cake, you would have said straight away, yes.
You know, my son, I sent you a video, actually. You can watch it later on. So while we were waiting for you, I go, oh, do you know who I'm interviewing today? The owner of Cakebox. Oh, no way. And he's like, oh, tell him to bring me Oreo cake. And I was like, no, it's not good. He goes, no, it's good. You don't know. So he started debating with me that it's amazing. And to be honest, we are avid customers of
Thank you.
your Roman Road, particularly Roman Road, and sometimes...
And Azim is the owner of that store, and he was the number 2 franchisee.
Amazing. So when you select the staff in stores, I mean, obviously you guys have some quality checks, you know, who gets to work. They have to be able to write as well.
So what it is, we've got training manuals. We train the franchisee in what to look for and how to select candidates. And every candidate will have a trial period where, you know, where they tried out. If they're good enough, they're kept on. If they're not, they're not. And so it's in a franchise system, everything is about process. You follow the process. Why would you want to buy a franchise and not start your own business? The reason for that is a tried and tested business. It's tried and tested systems. And what you're buying is no headache. So what you're buying is, I'm going to run the shop. I just follow the systems. I don't have to think. When you got your own business, you have to do everything. You have to do the accounting, the manufacturing, the marketing, or banking, wages, or etc. Right? When you buy into a franchisee, my franchisees, they place the order on the computer, they press the button, and everything is delivered to them to the door. No worries about going through other suppliers, trying to find chocolates here, cream here, jam here, etc.
Everything is coming from
Everything comes from me. So that's no headache for them. Then, how do they make a cake? They've got all the instructions. They just follow the instructions.
Do they make the cakes on site?
So they assemble. I bake them in the bakery.
Okay.
I send the sponges to the shop.
Okay.
And the sponges, and then they assemble all the cakes. And they make the cake to order for whatever you want.
Oh.
Right? And so they got all the processes. All the processes are there for them. They don't have to think. And that's the beauty of a franchise system, is you are buying into an established business who's got all the support. So we do the marketing, we do the pricing, we do the designs, and all they have to do is sell.
Who documents the SOPs? Like, do you do it, or when you first started thinking about franchise?
So I used to do everything, from baking the cake to delivering the cakes to teaching or training staff in shops. So yeah, that's all part process of the business.
Did you have to engage a professional company to come and document your processes and procedures to turn it into a manual?
Absolutely. So there's companies out there who will do everything, who do the manuals for you, who do health and safety, who does HR. And again, there's so many resources available for you, which you take advantage of.
Did you guys use a company, or did you do it yourself?
Yeah, we use many companies. And then eventually you settle on the companies that, so for example, when we done the franchise training, they done the manuals for us on what the franchise looks for, how it does it, what the processes are, what the procedures are. And then eventually when we could afford it, we employed another person, a franchise manager, and an assistant, a secretary, etc. And as you go up the ladder, as you can afford more, you can employ more staff.
So what you mentioned about, this whole delivery, the transition or transit of stock transfer of stocks between the shops and the stores. Like big companies like SAPs, they're very expensive. How does a small company also have the similar flexibilities and smoothness as a big company, but they can't pay 100K or something for
That's
a system?
correct. And so, if you've got one van, you've got one driver, and that driver is a multifunctional. He'll drive to all the shops that you got, and he'll come back, take the next lot, then go again. And so it's all about flexibility.
But did you develop your own software, or did you have to use a SAP
Again,
or Oracle or something?
You use one that. Why develop your own when you got something that off the shelf?
They're so expensive, though, the big ones, the proper ones.
When you get to that stage, that is. So now, or we develop our own website. We develop our own ERP system. Because we're at that stage where we can afford to.
Okay.
But otherwise, a smaller shop, well, it's much easier for them to just plug and play.
So how did you there's a void in between, let's say 30 stores to 50 stores. Now you're medium size, at the same time you're on your way to big size. When do you transition from, okay, I need to now invest in this software and I have to do it?
So the biggest challenge I had was, when do we professionalize our business? And I think I left it a little bit late. I should have invested in or more people, more processes, a bit earlier, but we've caught up on that. And it's organic. So what is your demand? What's your supply? And so I can't make enough sponges. I need to buy another oven. That's where your price point comes. So as you know, that I need this software for running my HR. I can't do it manually anymore. I need Sage 100 for my accounts. Now I need Sage 100 professional for my accounts, and that's how you go along. So you've got to fit your needs to your demand.
So the predicament that we are personally having is okay, we want, let's say this SAP software, but it's going to cost arm and a leg, 150 something K, depending on the vendor that you're going to go with. Now, how do you make sense of this investment?
Now, does it give you a return? And how long is the return? Will you get return on your investment in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? And that's where you're going to sit down and work out, I'm spending this kind of money, will I get my money back? Will it now save me in time, labor, stock, supply? Right? Will it make efficiencies? Will it make it more proficient? If it does, so I will save X amount over the next 3 years and I've got a payback. And after that, it's all free.
So is that how you always think, ROI? It needs to generate...
Absolutely. It's got to generate a return. You can't be just taking money out of you.
Have you ever made investments where...
Always.
You went wrong?
Always going to, you made something and you invested in it and then it doesn't work. And the skill is to know when to cull it. When to say, right, enough's enough, let's stop it. And not go down that route, let's go different.
How do you balance between emotional connection where you really put your heart and soul to something? Nothing can relate to that. But where do you say, what, enough is enough?
That's that's could be a professional decision, not an emotional. And you've got to say, no, it's happened, let's move on. And then you'll get over it.
With entrepreneurs, there's always a predicament. Okay, with entrepreneurship, it's certain things you just can't explain with logics, but it needs to work, and if I go long enough, it will work. How do you now
you're going to have a gut feeling, and you go with your gut, you make a professional decision, and it is going to work or it doesn't work. How do you learn to walk? Only by falling down. And that's how you're going to learn. You fall down, you get up, dust yourself off, move on. If you fell, it's a badge of honor. That I've tried it, I failed, it doesn't work, let's go to the next one. You don't beat yourself up that it failed. Failure is not that you are a washout. No, it's a learning curve. And only way you learn is by falling down. You fall down, you get up. You fall down again, you get up. You fall down again, you get up. And that's how you learn to walk, and then you learn to run. And only by failure would you learn that. You're never going to be perfect. No one's perfect.
How do you manage ego? Because the more you fall, in our community, that, the more failures you have, the more stains you have on your history.
That's right. Great. Look, as long as you've hurt no one, you haven't cheated anyone, what's the problem? Yeah? And you say, look, I've fallen down, I've done it, let's see if you can do it. Yeah, you can only criticize me if you've done it better than me. I've learned, and everything's look, listen, and learn. And you're always, I'm 63 now, I'm always learning. I'm still learning. I'm still learning or newer things.
Some people say, well, when are you going to stop learning? Like, when are you going to stop making mistakes?
When you're in your grave.
Wow. See, when you messaged me there, when we were talking on WhatsApp, and you said, oh, thank you for your time to me. I'm like, no, I should be saying thank you to you for your time. And I sent a screenshot to my brother. It's like, look, this guy's so humble. Like, he's thanking me for time, but I'm wanting him on my show. So
politeness costs nothing. Why can't you be polite? Why can't you just say a thank you? Right? It doesn't hurt anyone, and it makes someone's day. You made your day.
Yeah. I was like, look, brother, look, like, this guy, like, he's so big, and, he's saying thank you to me, like, for giving me time. I'm like, how does that make sense?
We're equal. No one's bigger than anybody else. Right? And my dad's always said, politeness will cost you nothing. Being humble will cost you nothing. Yeah. Being egoistic doesn't get you anything anywhere else. Doesn't make you any more money, and doesn't make your reputation any better. And so that's the principles that we work on.
In fact, humility makes more money.
My door is open to everybody, from the cleaner down to the biggest executive. They can walk into my office at any time for any reason, and I will always see them and talk to them. Right? There's no one in my company who I haven't got time.
What's your day-to-day like? I mean, you said you're 63. You look healthy. Do you have a fitness regime that you...
Oh, again, it's what are you satisfied with? Because we've got 1,000 excuses not to do something and one excuse to do something. So you are responsible for your health. You are the only person responsible for what goes in your mouth. So when I was diagnosed diabetic last April, I had to change regime. And so within 9 months, I'd completely reversed it. I'm not diabetic anymore.
Amazing.
Yeah, don't need I've never been. The doctor said you got 12 weeks to get your blood sugar down. Otherwise, he'd put me on medicine. So, they count your average blood sugar for the last 3 months, your HbA1c level. And if you're under 43, you're not diabetic. 43 to 48, you're diabetic, or you're pre-diabetic. Anything over 48, you're diabetic. And I came around about 50. And when I had the blood test done again in 16 weeks, the doctor phoned me up and he goes, what have you done? I said, what's the matter? He goes, your tests have come out at 35. Or I done my research and I just changed my lifestyle. Changed what I was eating, the way I was eating it, and I reversed it completely. So I can do it, you can do it. There's no excuse. So every morning I swim 1 kilometer.
You
swim 1 kilometer.
Do you go to a swimming pool, or do you have in your house?
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I have got one at home.
Amazing.
Right? Or I don't go in the lift. I walk. Right? When I park my car when I go to the supermarket, I'll park it as far away from the entrance as possible. Right? And so if we lunchtime or even the office after I've eaten, I do a 20-minute walk. We've got excuses not to do it, but you can do it. Yeah. It's up to you health is wealth. No point being the richest man in the graveyard.
Wow. That's amazing. How do you stay focused?
What do you mean by focused?
We've got so many distractions around us. Nowadays, ChatGPT is also becoming a distraction. How do you really kind of stay focused and dig into your own reservoir of creativity?
When my ex-CFO, he used to have a list. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many tasks he had to do that day? So I would walk into his office and say, young man, I need this done. He would put it on his list. Now, if it was on number 12, he would not do it till he got to number 12. He wouldn't put that at number 2. or number one. He would wait till he got to there. So that's the way he focused. He had a list and he would stick to it no matter what. Yeah. And so everybody has their own methods, own ways of doing stuff. Yeah. Me, I work differently. Someone tells me something, I'm on the phone, I've got it done. End of story. All right. But everybody, you work out what's best for you. Because again, it comes down to, I want to do this, but I prefer to do that. I've got 1,000 excuses not to do it, one excuse to do it. I'd rather take 1,000 excuses. Right? So you've got to work out the system for what's good for you. How you're going to focus. How you're going to do a task today. Do you write a list? I don't do a list. I go, as it goes, I go with the flow. Yeah? Other people, they go by lists. So you work out what is the best for you. What will keep you focused? What will keep you disciplined? What keeps you on track? Go with that system and don't variate from it.
So you don't use any apps, any management tools to kind of keep you on track?
Oh yes, I've got my to-do list. I've got what's priorities and what I can do, what I shouldn't do, etc.
Is that an app or is that your own writing?
Yeah, it's an app and my diary and etc. But it's up to you to find what's the best for you, because you can have 1,000 apps, but if you don't use it, what's the point?
Yeah, that's another paralysis, right? Like not having too many apps
Correct.
to manage yourself, and then you get nothing done.
That's right, absolutely. So you manage your time, which you think is the best way.
How do you manage your time?
Again, it's every day is different. Every day is a new challenge and new things that are brought up. But again, it's also mundane. You've got certain things that you have to do every day, which you do, and where you vary from it, where you don't vary from it, a new challenge, a what challenge, etc. Again, find the optimum thing for yourself and go that way.
How do you deal with pressure?
I don't do pressure.
Who does?
I was 12 years old and I was about to take a very important exam and I worried about it all night. In the next day, the teacher didn't turn up. I didn't have the exam. I was worried about it all day. And the one teacher goes, what's the matter? I was worrying about this exam all week, all night, and it never happened. And he goes, look, by worrying, will it change the situation? By stressing, will it change the situation? No, it won't. So don't do it. So I've never stressed or worried. Right? So if it's going to change the situation, worry about it.
I'll worry all day.
Yeah. But if it's not going to change the situation, why worry about it? So go with the flow.
Money. What's your relationship with money? Like, how do you are you good with money? Some people are, yes, they've got a lot of money, but they're still not good with money.
Again, absolutely, everybody's different. So like I said, my cousin, he's very rigid. He does this, and this, and he'll spend this. I have a friend, whenever we're going out, are you coming out this week? No. Why not? I didn't get no overtime. Okay, and so if I don't get, I only go out when I get overtime. Otherwise, I don't. And he will put away a certain percentage of his wages every month without fail. Right? He'll adjust his lifestyle to adjust with what's left, but he will always put that away. And everybody, again, individual, what suits you? How does it suit you? How are you? Some people love spending money, love going out, love eating or takeaways. Other people say, no, why make it when you can make it yourself? Everybody's different. And everybody's just got to learn what is the best way for them.
What's your way?
Again, my has always been they're sensible and it's not sensible. Right? We've been through it all. So, when we were younger, we used to splash out and not worry about the consequences, etc. But as you get older, you get mature. And then you budget, you got a budget for everything. And that's what you should do. Just budget everything, or what can you afford? How much your mortgage is, how much your rent rate, etc. And then you make the judgment on what's left over, what you can spend and what you can't spend.
If someone was in your close circle and if they were observing, what would they say? This man is so generous, or would they say this man is stingy? Which one would they say? Or is in between?
That's not for me to say, and you need to talk to my colleagues.
A very political answer. Oh my God. If Cakebox disappeared tomorrow for whatever, God forbid, reason,
Samosas. Make Lulu. Yeah? Because that skill will never go away. I have that skill. All right? So no matter what happens, I got something to fall back onto. Yeah? And that's what I'm saying. If you've got an education, that's a skill. If you're no good at studying, become an electrician. If you're no good at electrician, become a bricklayer, become a plumber. Get a trade. That trade cannot be taken away from you. There's always going to be a demand for an electrician, always be a demand for a plumber, a bricklayer, or double glazing, or builder, etc. So whatever skill that you can get, you learn that skill, and that skill can never be taken away from you. And you can always fall back on that skill.
You built a business to celebrate, well, help people celebrate. How do you celebrate?
Again, none of my grandchildren do not have a cake. Of course they're going to have a cake, right? And that's so we're like everybody else. When it's an anniversary, we'll have a cake. When it's or birthday, we'll have a cake. When someone passes the exams, when my granddaughter won her swimming medals, we celebrate with a cake.
Why? Like when you have your own business, sometimes people say, oh, like, we don't want it from your own business. We want you to actually spend money and get it.
I have to taste the product every day. That's my excuse. I call it quality control.
Okay. So it has to be a cake box cake.
Absolutely. But I do taste competitors' cakes. If someone brings out a really good product, I make it better and then sell it.
What's this Dubai cake about?
So we got Dubai chocolate is the rage everywhere at the moment. And so we go with the trends, and we've introduced a Dubai chocolate cake, a Dubai chocolate cupcake, you can see there.
Yeah.
We've got a Dubai chocolate sundae, and I'm happy to report that it's gone viral.
Really?
It's become my best-selling product in the cake box at the moment.
Marketing, like, what's your view on marketing?
Again, if you can't tell, you may have the best product in the world, but if people doesn't know about it, how are you going to sell it? There's only certain mouth or mouth to mouth, right? But you got to tell people that you have the product. And then it's various marketing. There's social media, there's digital, there's billboards, there's TV advertising, radio advertising, and you just got to find what's the best fit for you.
So you're very much about personalizing. Everything is personalized, from your cake to your lifestyle, like, do what works for you.
Absolutely correct. We are all individuals. We've all got our own personalities. We've all got our traits, good and bad.
Someone who's starting, because I through my Instagram and everything, I try to encourage people, if they can, then explore business, because I think that is something that can give freedom. But not everyone is built for business. Not everyone has it.
Absolutely correct. There's one of my colleagues, one of the radio stations, he had the chance to open up his own agency, but he was the kind of person who relied on that check at the end of the month, that salary, because everything was planned or all the outgoings, and he could not afford to, miss a check. So he wasn't cut out for the business. And he liked to work Monday to Friday and have weekends off, right? That suited his lifestyle. Fair enough. I work 7 days a week. Yeah. And
I suppose you enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoy it. I was on holiday a couple of weeks at a wellness resort, but half the day was spent on emails and etc. And they go, "Why you take that on holiday?" Because I enjoy it.
That's my fun, right?
Yeah, correct.
So what would you say to someone who's actually looking to get into business? Any advice?
Look, listen, learn. Look at what's available. Learn what's available. Listen to your customer or your projected customer base, and then tailor your product to that customer. Because without a customer, you have no business. I walk into so many businesses, so many shops and restaurants, and they've got the attitude that you are an inconvenience.
The customer.
The customer is not there for our convenience. We are there for the customer's convenience. And who did that? Mahatma Gandhi. He wasn't just a peace thing. He had a lot of views on a lot of stuff. And he said, without a customer, you have no business, right? And so a lot of our Asian businesses, we think, the customer can't do without our product. No, we can't do without that customer. So we treat our customer as a king. And that when they say as a customer is king, it's so true. Not all customers are right. You get bad customers. But you got a bad customer, you got a customer that's wrong, let that customer be wrong with dignity. Yeah? And because that bad customer will then become your good customer. So when customers say to us, we have a complaint, the first thing we ask them is, how can we make you happy? And if we can make you happy, you're my customer for life. That's why we've got such a loyal thing. We've got the product and we've got the customer service. A lot of our Asian companies don't do that. They don't look after the customer. And we instill to every franchisee, every person in the shop, with that person walking through the door is not a customer. It's your livelihood. It's your roti. It's your job. It's your wages at the end of the month. You treat them the way you treat your wages, the way you want to be treated. If you treat them the way you want to be treated, you got a customer for life.
Wow, these are some powerful, powerful ethos.
And you always going to get new customers, but your bedrock is your repeat customer. And you want that customer coming back again and again and again. And how do you do that? You build up a loyalty by serving the customer the way they want to be served.
If you were to, let's say, you want to open a new business, completely new business, what are the guiding principles that you would implement or look at to guide you across?
One, your product has to be right. You can have all the marketing that you want, right? You can have all the fancy packaging, right? But if your product's not correct, it's not going to sell. Then second thing, it's got to be coupled with customer service. You got to get that customer what they want, how they want it, when they want it, the way they want it. Fulfill all those criteria, you got yourself starting off a business. Then you build on that loyalty and you build up that customer base, because one happy customer will tell 20 other people. One bad customer will tell 50. So you're going to make sure that that good customer tells all his friends and family. They try it and you got some more customers. Because at the end of the day, no matter what product you got, without a customer buying it, what's the point of it? So when you new business, your number one priority is your customer. Make that customer happy, your business will thrive.
So 2 guiding principles: exceptional product, exceptional customer service.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Put them together and you've got a winning package. Whether how you execute that is up to you.
You're energetic. Do you have any down days where you feel like, I don't feel like doing anything today, I'm just going to let it be?
I always go with the flow. Whatever your mood is that day, go with it. If you feel like a lazy day, have it. If you've got the ability to do so. If you say, oh, I'm taking a sick day of work, that's not correct. Right? But if it's at the weekend, you don't want to do anything, entirely. It's up to you. Go with the flow. But if your wife wants you to make something and to build the shelves, you should be doing it.
Okay, quick fire. We'll end with a quick fire. Tea or coffee?
I drink 1 cup of decaffeinated coffee at 8 a.m. in the morning, and that is it.
What's the point of a decaffeinated coffee?
Because all I want is a hot drink in the morning to warm up the body. I don't need the caffeine shot. I just want the taste.
Okay. Because I've come to a point in my life, I'm 39, I'm not 63. And I feel like I need that caffeine to wake me up.
But is it the caffeine waking you up, or is there a symbol of waking you up by putting that to your mouth and thinking, oh, I've woken up now?
I don't know, but when I have that coffee, I'm like, yep, I'm ready to go. All the ideas are now flowing in.
Again, that is your trigger point. Yeah? And so it's good to have a trigger point. I like to have a decaffeinated, or because I don't like caffeine. I don't like that boost. And it's just a hot drink just to start you going.
Okay. What's one book that you can recommend to me and my audience that has helped you in your life?
How to make friends. Let me see what the
and influence people.
Yes, correct.
Dale Carnegie.
That's correct.
Amazing book.
Amazing book. And if you read that book, it sets you up for how the principle of dealing with people in your life. Right? And it's how you read it and how you interpret it. I read it late in life, but I realized I was doing all those principles that was in that book, but I did not realize it. And it all fitted in. And that's the one book I would recommend if you want to go into business.
Okay, because and I think it's about emotional intelligence as well. A lot of these influence techniques are recognizing and having emotional intelligence. And if you don't have it, then that book will really help you. It's a
Correct.
small book,
And
but
that's right. And how many books do you read a week?
me, maybe in a year, I can tell you in a year, maybe about 5, 6.
Correct. Now, how about getting the habit of reading 2 a month?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Every time I read a book, I'm like, why didn't I read this before?
Yeah. And so my personal routine is I read when I go into bed. So I read a few chapters and I go to sleep. That's what's in my brain overnight. And then I once I finish that, I start a new book.
Amazing, amazing. What's your favorite cake in Cakebox?
At the moment, it is the Dubai chocolate cake, but it used to be the RD4, which is the chocolate with fruit and vanilla sponge and fresh cream. Well, our cakes are all fresh cream. That we got the perfect balance of cream with sponge with jam. It's so refreshing.
What's one cake flavor? It doesn't have to be your company that you think is very overrated.
That's the what flavor? I think matcha.
Matcha, yeah?
Yeah.
What's one memorable feedback that you've received from your customer that sticks with you?
When I get a feedback from a customer, because I check every single customer complaint or feedback personally. Yeah, so every email that comes in, I've got my customer service department, but I make sure I read every single one.
Every single
Wow. One that comes in, so because I want to know what the customer is feeling like. And when a customer says thank you for making their day, that makes your day. When a customer says or has taken the time and effort to write to you and say, I really enjoyed your cake, I really enjoyed your product, and it really made my day, that's what makes you smile at the end of the day. When a customer says, oh, look, I've had a problem with the cake and, or it wasn't what I expected, and it makes your day by making that right. So writing to that customer personally and saying, look, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And then when that customer writes back and says thank you, that makes your day.
Wow. Wow, these are really, really important, and these are gem of advices. A habit that keeps you grounded.
A habit. Expand on that.
What's one habit that will keep you on track? Not, I suppose, make you swerve from one side to another, whether it's your business ideas, execution, new ventures, because entrepreneurs are always how do you stay focused?
Again, the habit is, right, you have a routine. You stick to that routine. So I wake up at the same time every day. I sleep at the same time every day. Right? Just get into that habit.
That's so hard.
Nothing's hard. Everything is possible.
I can wake up at the same time, but I don't think I can go sleep at the same time.
It's an excuse. Everything is possible. And that's what my dad used to say. There's nothing that's impossible. Right? Again, it's excuses for not doing it and an excuses for doing it.
If you weren't running Cakebox today,
I'd be running something else. So I started off in Matai. I've always been in food. Right? And so I would still be in food. So if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing something else.
But packaged food or
whichever. So we've got Ambala now, right? So I go, and when we first became a partnership, and I walked into the factory and I started making the matai with them, they were so surprised that I could do it, making the jalebi, making the laddu, and they were really happy that I could do it as well. So I could join in with them, and so they've got an affiliation. The staff got affiliation with myself. That if they had a problem with the badam barfi last week, and they gave me a ring, and I sorted it for them.
Wow. Last question. What's your greatest fear?
Fear in what? And the fear is letting down all the people who rely on me for a living, all my franchisees, their staff, and I believe I've given empowerment to a lot of young ladies in our Asian culture would normally not be allowed to work or go out and everything. They come to a cake shop, they work in the environment with their fellow staff, and they're empowered. They go home and they've made a contribution to their lives. They've earned a living, they've got satisfaction, and they've got a purpose in life. And that what makes me happy is that I've given them a chance where they would have had no chance. And by opening up more shops, we're setting up more employment. We're setting up a chance for people to come in and work and learn something. They won't be with me forever. They'll have learned the experience, they will learn, and they'll go on to their careers, getting the habits that I've taught them.
Sukh, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm assuming these cakes are for us.
They are.
I can't wait to, I'm always watching what I'm eating, but these cupcakes look very delicious.
Excellent. It's all about balance, right? So if you want to have a cupcake now, it's absolutely fine. And you just have less later on. When people say, that they're eating too much, oh, that is correct. You can have, there's nothing that you cannot eat. Even a diabetic, they can have sugar. It's not a problem as long as they balance it in the next meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything in life is about a balance. You keep a balance, happiness, sadness, or exercise, etc. Balance your life and you'll be happy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you much for help.
Thank you. And that's it for today on Side by Side. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and have benefited from it. If you have, as always, don't forget to share this episode around with friends and family. Comment below with any guest recommendations or questions you may have either for myself or our guest. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates me and the team here at Side by Side to continue with our efforts episode after episode. And with that said, let's reunite on our next episode. Assalamu alaikum.